What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here. I hope you guys are enjoying your international break, and that can only mean one thing, and that is Unpopular Opinions. We're back for episode 2, and let's get straight into it. And this is from our old friend OG X King. You might remember him from the last episode, and his opinion is Lamela offered more than Lo Celso.
Interesting. I don't think so. I think Lo Celso is a better player than Lamela. And I know Lamela works really hard and does have a bit of quality about him as well. And I know Lo Celso has been injury prone, a bit like Lamela, and you know he still hasn't been good. But I still really rate I still think Lo Celso offers more than Lamela. That's just a personal preference. I know I'm kind of relying on time to just prove that. At the moment, you could definitely argue Lamela provides more. To be honest, I can't really argue that. I just believe, from what I've seen from Lo Celso, I believe, given time, at the end of the season, everyone will see if he's not if he stays injury free. That's my opinion.
I think that when you compare the two players, Lo Celso is a better football player than Eric Lamela. I don't think that you can doubt that. But I think so far what they've shown in the Spurs shirt, I think Lamela has offered more than Lo Celso. Obviously, he had a lot more time than Lo Celso. Obviously, Lo Celso came in when we first signed him and did really well for that time. During just before lockdown and stuff like that, he did unbelievably well. And if he would have kept that up till now, Lo Celso would have offered more than Lamela, but he hasn't done. So for me, I think that's true.
I guess if you take it now, it is true, but I don't think it's going to be true.
You can't tell what's going to happen in the future, can you?
That's my prediction. I just don't think it will be.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's my prediction as well. But as it stands right now, you can't say that. We can't say that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I guess.
All right, let's move on. This is from Andy Burney, and he says, we should give up this dream of getting Poch back, move forward and evolve rather than looking back. If he comes back, it will be a disaster and ruin his Spurs reputation.
Depends how he comes back. If he comes back and gets a young set of hungry players to work with, then it's different. But if he comes back and he has a bit of a squad who it's tough to pull in the same direction. He has another rebuild and stuff. And yeah, you're probably right. It won't end well, but I would definitely take him back. He's definitely a manager who could have a second stint once he's had this refresh at PSG, maybe even another job after that, and then come back to Spurs. I think he can come back in the future. But yeah, you're right. I don't think we should be pinning our hopes on him coming back anytime soon. I think that would be wrong. I think that is true.
It is true, but to say that he will come back and not do well, I mean, what manager would do well then if he's not going to do well? You know what I mean?
There's no proof there's nothing to suggest he can't come back and do a good job. There's nothing to suggest that.
But should we give up our dreams on bringing Poch back? I mean, it's always.
For now, I don't think it should be a goal.
When we're going through the mills of kind of managers of like Nuno's ilk, like it's hard not to dream of Pochettino, isn't it?
Of course, because what he brought to us, we know how good of a manager he is. But at the end of the day, if we do keep hanging on to him, we are not going to move forward. So I think it should be a thing where if an opportunity arises down the line, you look at it. But I don't think it's something you should be aiming for to bring Poch back. You have to just.
Do you think that's what Levy is aiming for with these short contracts for Nuno and stuff like that?
You get that, gives that feeling, doesn't it?
It does give that feeling.
That's the problem, and I don't think that's right.
Definitely, it's not fair on the current regime, isn't it? It's just not fair.
It's not a sensible thing for a football club to be doing, pinning on getting a manager back who's currently at PSG, one of the biggest club in France. Like, you have to carry on your own project, and it stinks of a lack of strategy, to be honest. Oh, let's get the guy which was working for, which we sacked. It's like as if like there are no other managers who could work for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like
there's a load of managers out there. I'm sure you could pick one that could be the right fit, but because this board doesn't have any foresight or strategy about them, the only way they know to think is Poch worked for, so let's try and get him back.
They got no clue, mate. They've got absolutely no clue. They want to go from one way to another way, back to the other way, and then like after they sacked Jose Mourinho, it was like, I think we need someone more of Pochettino's ilk.
Yeah, of course.
So why did you sack him then? All right, let's move on. This one is from Saxo Guy 3 saying Mourinho was sacked too early, and that's 100% spot on. I don't think that's unpopular, is it?
At least 6 days too early. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
We know that's for sure. At least 6 days, but I do think that's unpopular because I think if you say to a lot of people now, would you still have Mourinho back? I think most people probably say no. Still.
Yeah, but people will always say that sacking him 6 days before a cup final was ludicrous.
Yeah, true. And also, like judging from what we've seen early parts of the season, I don't see too much improvement on what Mourinho was offering. And in fact, at least in Mourinho, you could criticise him fairly for his tactics, but at least you could see clear ways of how he could win games. At the moment, we played well against Villa, but the way we started the season, it's like there's not clear direction at the moment.
My unpopular opinion is that if Jose would have worked on the fitness in this squad and really would have been militant with them, he would still be in a job right now.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Probably. You're probably right on that.
All right, let's move on. Let's go to Alamin T5 saying a 4-3-3 can actually work with Kane playing as a false 9 like Firmino.
Well, doesn't he do that? Kind of. Yeah, I mean, he kind of does play a bit of a false 9. For a lot of people have been complaining about 4-3-3, but I do think it's a formation in the future we shouldn't give up on. And a lot of people are saying we need to play 4-2-3-1, but I think it does depend on what game you're playing, really, doesn't it? I do think 4-3-3 can work, but we haven't quite got the right balance in that system just yet. Yeah,
I completely agree with that. I mean, sometimes it's just the players we've got can suit a 4-3-3. I genuinely believe that, and I mean it was what we were calling for a lot under Jose Mourinho, which never really came. But yeah, I think it's just the players need to get used to it, and the players' fitness need to be better for it, especially in midfield with the likes of Tanguy and Ndombele, Gia, Lo Celso. So let's move on. This one is from Enzo26 and some other numbers. He says Eric Dier is very underrated and Ndombele is overrated by our fan base.
That is an unpopular opinion, especially Dier is underrated. In terms of Dier, he's underrated to the extent where people say he's useless. I don't think he's useless. I think he's a good centre-back, but he's a Europa League centre-back. That's what I think of Eric Dier. He's not. If you want him to be Eric Dier to be challenging for Champions League, you're never going to get there with Dier at the back. And that's from that sense, that's why he's not good enough and people get frustrated. But in terms of him being like completely rubbish and useless and the worst centre-back ever, I don't think that's true. And a lot of people do say that about him, which is harsh, which is fair enough. In terms of Ndombele, he probably is overrated by a lot of people only because of... I don't think his quality is overrated. I think his quality, we know how good he is.
The footballer is a whole package, though, isn't it?
That's the truth. And at the moment, he's not backing up what the fans think about him, unfortunately. And he needs to do that. Yeah. And hopefully he will throughout the season. But, maybe people saying he could be better than Pogba and stuff like that. Maybe it is overrating him. So maybe, you could have a case there.
All right. Well said. I think that's pretty much spot on, to be fair. Let's move on. THFC Doyley saying Tanganga is so overrated.
I'm an Enfield fan till Nuno's gone. That's his name.
Okay.
Tanganga is so overrated. I don't know how highly rated he is, to be honest. Tanganga. I like Tanganga. I've always said. To be honest, I've always said that I do think he gets a bit more either patience or he gets a bit more backed by the fans because he's a youth player, and if he was a signing, maybe there'll be less patience. But I think he's a good player, Tanganga. I don't know if he's overrated. No, overrated by who? Who says Tanganga should be starting for us? Like, no one really.
Well, a lot of people are saying that he should be our right back now after that Man City display and stuff like that.
Yeah, but we did a poll with most Tottenham fans would say Emerson should be starting next game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, only because of that performance he put in last week. But if that performance doesn't come in, people are still putting Tanganga there, I reckon.
I don't overrate him. I know how good and bad he limitations for me personally.
I don't think Tanganga's overrated at all. I don't think so. I think he's a solid young player, up and coming, and I think that's what he's been treated as.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, what's the next one? Adam Bordeaux says Hojbjerg isn't as good as everyone makes out. He's an average Premier League midfielder who gets found out by the bigger and better clubs. This is an interesting one because I've thought about this before, actually. He isn't as good as everyone makes out. I mean, everyone makes out like he's one of the best CDMs in the Premier League.
Yeah,
which he's not.
Which is, as in, it's true that everyone makes out, and I'm not sure if he is. I'm not sure. The only problem with Hojbjerg is sometimes he looks like a world beater when the balance is right in midfield, and the problem is someone like a Kante, for example, when he's alone in there, he won't get overrun, but Hojbjerg will. Yeah. That's the difference. So when the balance is right, he can be really effective. Just like look at the Euros, he was brilliant in the Euros. And he got on the team of the tournament.
He wasn't a CDM there; he was more of a box-to-box.
Yeah,
game.
That's the thing. one of the midfielders of the tournament in the Euros, and that's a high bar.
Yeah,
and that shows how good he can be. But when you put him in the wrong position with the wrong balance and stuff like that, I think he can get shown up a bit. That's the truth.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. And I think I made this point to someone. I can't remember if it was you or someone else at the Man City Cup final event that we had. And I was talking about this, and I was saying that I do think Hojbjerg is overrated, but would I think about displacing him or something like that? No chance, because what he offers to our midfield, what he offers to our team, the aggression that he shows, I mean, there's no one in our squad that can do that, and there's no one that we can buy for a normal amount of money that's going to be better than him.
He is a bit overrated, but I think
still a very good player.
He could, if you put him in a Man City team, I reckon he could shine a lot brighter than he does at Spurs, because if he has that not in the Rodri role, and kind of in a 4-3-3 and that kind of Rodri behind him and like a De Bruyne or so next to him, I reckon he would be brilliant. I really believe that. I think everyone would see him as a very good centre midfielder.
But I think you're going to see it now as Skip kind of knuckles down that kind of deep lying role, that destroyer role a bit more. Has a Tongi or a Lo Celso beside him or in front of him, and him playing that kind of box-to-box role. I think we'll see him grow this season even more.
I hope so, yeah. I still think he's a fine player. Fine player.
I agree. Moving on. Oh, that's it. All right, that is your episode 2 of your unpopular opinions. Let me know in the comment section below if you have any thoughts regarding any of the opinions we brought to you today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.